Hi, I'm Patrick Dunnican. At Gibbons, we believe that citizens need to be informed about the complex issues that affect their lives. That's why we're proud to support the programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., RWJ Barnabas Health, the New Jersey Education Association, the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters, New Jersey Resources, NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. Turn a dream into a degree. International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, and by NJM Insurance Group. Promotional support provided by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and by Observer New Jersey Politics.
Welcome to State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. We are, in fact, coming to you from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio in Newark, New Jersey. It is our pleasure to welcome, for the first time in this studio with us, Steve Malanga, Manhattan Institute Senior Fellow. Good to see you.
Hey, how you doing?
Let us disclose we come from the same neighborhood in Newark, New Jersey, and you were with us back in the day, early 90s, early 90s with Caucus, New Jersey, the series we started with. Your views have not changed that much. But the world has changed around you, so I'm going to get right to some of the issues that matter most. You're one of the smartest people I've ever met when it comes to tax policy. I say Trump tax policy, the changes, corporate tax, tax on wealthier folks, middle income folks, overall good for the people of the state of New Jersey?
Yes, for a couple of things. First of all, I think it's been wildly exaggerated who's going to have to pay more in taxes, and I think a lot of Jersey residents are seeing that. The fact of the matter is that what the media tended to focus on is the fact that we were going to lose the state and local deduction.
Because New Jersey, we pay the highest property taxes in the nation. If you only can deduct 10 grand, you're paying 50 grand, 40 grand, 30 grand, you can't deduct it. Why isn't that good math?
Because what they did is they left out all the good things. First of all, your tax rate went down. Second of all, the standard deduction is being doubled. Thirdly, the alternative minimum tax.
Explain what that means.
Well, that's very, look, basically it's a tax that was originally, it was the fast version. It was originally targeted to rich people, but basically it came to include a lot of ordinary people. It's a way, basically what it does is it zeroes out your deductions. It begins to reduce your deductions so you have to pay more in taxes. So people were already in New Jersey losing some of those deductions. That's now gone away from most people in New Jersey. And here's the thing. I haven't seen a study in New Jersey, but there was a study in New York that was done, which basically said that up to $500,000 in annual income, you're still going to get a tax cut. Above $500,000, you start to pay more.
Okay.
But it's not that much more. 5 million, 10 million in New Jersey, you're definitely paying a lot more in taxes. But that's a very small slice
that's way
of
less
New
than
Jersey.
1/2 of 1%.
Absolutely.
Let's do this, because, Steve, the other thing, and I meant it as a compliment, your views haven't changed. You've evolved and gotten more information. But the one thing you have not changed on is you're one of the first people, with me and my colleague, Raphael P. Roman, our great colleague, who was one of the co-anchors of MetroFocus. He and I had a conversation. We had a conversation with you about the pension crisis in New Jersey. And you're one of the first people to say, look, this is real, this is serious, and it's getting worse every day. The public employee pension crisis, what is it, and why does it matter to everyone who is not a public employee?
See, well, here's the thing. I was saying that back maybe 15, 20 years ago.
That's right.
Because that's how long we have been essentially messing this up. And right now, we have the worst funded state pension system in America. That's bad in itself. What's also bad is that most of the other pension systems, state pension systems around the country, are also in trouble because the fundamental math is not working. Everybody's heading in the wrong direction. We're there. That's a double problem for us. We have to fix the things we've done wrong, but we also have a pension system that, frankly, even if we were another state, we'd probably probably be in trouble, just not as much trouble. So it's a it's a future problem that is here
Who
for
pays
us now.
for it and when?
Well, see, here's the thing. The way the system is set up right now is that there's almost unlimited liability, and basically
What does that mean?
What that means is that you can keep going deeper and deeper in the hole if the system isn't working, and you keep promising people pension
But
credits.
sooner or later, the pension, well, hold on one second, but
Yes.
sooner or later, the bubble has to burst.
So here's the thing, okay, and this is one of the reasons we're in this problem in America, is because basically, as long as there's $1 in the trust fund to pay somebody tomorrow, politicians have kept putting off the solutions.
What kind of leadership is that?
Well, but you know what? You could get away with it. In this new report that I did for the Manhattan Institute on New Jersey, I traced the history, and it goes back to the Florio administration. Every administration has been doing a little.
Didn't they underfund the pension?
Now, here's what they did. Here's what they did during the Florio years, and I had to laugh at this. Basically, they changed a lot of the assumptions and made them more positive, including the assumption for what we were going to earn in the stock market over the next 30 years. It was
they overestimated the revenue.
The legislature. They raised it from 7% to 8.7%. Now, I've met a lot of New Jersey legislators in my time. The last thing I would do is go to a New Jersey legislature and say, "Tell me what you think the market's going to do." They did that legislation to save themselves $500 million.
So now Governor Murphy, who is, as we do this program in a couple of days, to deliver his budget address, we're doing this in the spring of 2018. Right now, the annual budget in New Jersey is about $35 billion. $35 billion, give or take a few million. What's the amount you believe is the appropriate amount that Governor Murphy should take of that budget and put directly into the public employee pension fund? It's serious business to make a real dent on how much it's underfunded.
Okay.
Is it $3, $4, $5 billion? What is it?
In order to put enough money into that system to pay for the current credits that people are earning every day and to begin reducing the debts, you have to put at least $5 billion.
Of $35 billion?
Yes, exactly.
That means less for schools, less for hospitals, less for county colleges.
Way less. Basically, this new report I did says that even under optimistic economic scenarios, the pension system, if you adequately fund it, and you have to do that not 1 year, but every year for the next 30 years, if you adequately fund it, it basically takes up most of the increase in tax collections that we can expect, from a good economy. So it just basically.
Well, would you advise Governor Murphy if he asked you, should I put in $5 billion of a $35 billion budget into the public employee pension fund? Would you say yes, do it?
Well, here's the thing. Of course, you can't say yes because we don't have $5 billion right now. I don't know where that. If you take that $5 billion, you either have to raise taxes so high or you have to cut other spending, which is already, listen, let's not kid ourselves, that $35 billion is already accounted for.
That's right.
This has been the slowest recovery of state tax revenues, not just in New Jersey, but around the country since World War II.
Meaning not a lot more money's coming in.
It took 9 years on an inflation-adjusted basis to get back to where we were in 2007. Meanwhile, costs have been going up and up and up. Everybody is struggling. We don't have.
What do we do here,
money.
Steve?
What?
What do we do?
Well, the New Jersey Pension and Reform Commission, which was a bipartisan commission, including
under Governor Cody?
No, not that one. The new one under.
Oh, the new one. I apologize.
Right, the one under
with
Tom Healy and Tom
Byrne,
Byrne, two very good guys. Basically had a reform package, which is radical in what it does, but essentially they have a plan, and a lot of the plan involves saving enough money and redirecting that money, reducing the cost going forward, redirecting that money into paying off the debt. Unless you do that, you have to take the money out of current. But
Steve, you can't respectfully, in the time we have left, how fair is it to change the deal for public employees who made the deal and said, I expect this pension contribution, yes. I expect these health benefits? You're changing the rules in the middle of the game.
No, you're not changing the rules. First of all, here's the thing, okay? We work in the private sector, governed by federal law. Private sector, what the law has always been is what you have earned because of the work you have done right now is yours. However, you don't have a right for the rest of your life to keep earning pension credits at that level. Your employer could come in and say, for work you haven't done yet, we're going to change things.
Steve Malanga, it's been about 25 plus years that we have been having you on, and you are smart and thoughtful. Whether people agree or not is another story, but we appreciate you bringing on this valuable information. By the way, where can people find the article, Manhattan?
Manhattan-institute.org.
Thank you, Steve.
Take care.
See you, buddy. You did the neighborhood well. Stay with us. We're right back after this.
To see more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at stateofaffairsnj.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We're talking to United States Senator Chuck Schumer. The senator has just toured, and there's a group of people here at the ICP Museum. This exhibit, Then They Came for Me, Incarceration of Japanese Americans During World War II. Senator, you saw this first in Chicago, this exhibit. What moved you so much, and why are you so moved again today?
Well, first, these are fine people, immigrants, children, grandchildren of immigrants. They looked a little different, maybe had different last names, but they were as American as any one of us. And yet, during a very dark period of our history, we took them out of their homes, out of their jobs, out of their schools, out of their livelihoods, and put them in camps. That's right. And the pictures are so moving because, you know, to use the cliche, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You can read about it, but seeing the pictures of these young people, that picture that I saw in Chicago.
Yeah, that one. I saw you paying attention to it, Senator, on that train.
Because it's all these fine people being put in cars, railroad cars, to be moved to camps. It just brings home what we were doing. And, you know, with what's happening right now with the Dreamers and with immigration and that certain wing of politicians led by President Trump tend to want to make immigrants, want to make immigrants as scapegoats and people who look different and might have different last names. That's a dark, dark side of America that when you see pictures like this, it makes you want to fight it with every atom of your being, and that's how I feel.
You know, to put things in perspective, we're talking about 120 Americans. 120,000, thank you, Senator, Americans, Japanese Americans, taken from their homes, taken from their businesses, and for several years, and then, Senator, when they came back, what was there for them? And by the way, after Pearl Harbor, this is when it started. Yeah. When they came back, what was there?
Well, their jobs were gone, their livelihoods were gone, their structures were gone. But these, like almost every immigrant, were resilient people, and they came back and became good Americans once again. And when you read about them and talk to them, some are bitter, but most just have moved forward with their lives, glad to be part of America once again.
So, Senator, for those who say, you know, it's for national security, that's what we did then in the 40s, and we need to do that again now with a different group of people, what do you say to those folks?
Let's make no mistake about it. In both cases, and particularly now, that's a total excuse. These are some of the dreamers and the immigrants that we have in America are by and large some of the finest people that we have. They work hard. They just want to be part of the American dream. And that is what's made America great, whether it was in the 40s or today, or way back when, you know, in 1892 when my ancestors came here. My middle name is Ellis Island. My daughter's middle name is Emma, named by my wife and I for Emma Lazarus, the poet who wrote Give Me Your Time on the Statue of Liberty. So I have believed in immigration my whole life, I think both for humane reasons, but for economic reasons. And what they're doing now is just so un-American, it curdles your stomach.
By the way, you see the senator talking to other people here. There is a large group of people gathered here at the ICP Museum, and these photographs, and you'll see it throughout the segment we're doing here, they're extraordinary. Some great artists, great photographers.
One of them.
Why does that stand out, though?
What do you mean? Well, there's an artist named Mr. Miyataka. He was a photographer. Now, they didn't allow pictures in the camps because they were ashamed.
They didn't want anyone to see it.
They didn't want anyone to see it.
The federal government, you mean?
That's correct. But he took those pictures, and a good number of them are here. So are pictures by Ansel Adams and some of the other great photographers. So it's a beautiful photography exhibit, but the meaning is deeper than that.
So for those, and by the way, for our public television audience and others who are watching this interview with Senator Schumer, who are getting a sense of these pictures, what is the biggest lesson that you, and more importantly, Senator, because you already got the lesson, that other Americans who may not even see this exhibit but want to know about it, what should they take away from this?
What they should take away, number one, is how important we are as a melting pot of people of all different backgrounds, all different places, religions, races, creeds, colors, come to America and want to be Americans and are great Americans. Second, that when people use them as scapegoats, as political footballs, we have to fight back and fight back and fight back, because America can. We are still a country where if you fight back and appeal to the better angels of our nature, we can succeed.
So finally, Senator, by the way, I want to thank you for joining us. And the Senator will be joining my colleague, Raphael Piermont, in another segment down the road to talk, if you will, the issues like the Gateway Tunnel and let's call it the drama going on in Washington. That's another conversation.
That's a different issue.
But the final question is this. For those Americans who say, we need to protect ourselves from, quote, them, your final message to those folks?
Them is us. Those people are us, whether it's Irish immigrants who were discriminated against 150
My family,
years
Italians
ago,
from Naples.
Italians or Jews or Poles, Hispanics now, Asians now. America wins when we are united, when we welcome people from abroad. And you know, every immigrant is special. Could have had no money, no education, but they had the gumption, the desire to say, I want to make a better life for myself. I'm going to risk sometimes crossing deserts or oceans. I am going to settle in a whole new country because I want to make a better life for me and my children. Every immigrant's special.
In fact, the name, Then They Came For Me, is so appropriate given what Senator Schumer just said. So, Senator, I want to thank you and the crowd that has gathered here at the ICP Museum. We don't normally
tell them where it is.
Yeah, by the way, the ICP, I want to make sure everyone knows.
Please, everyone knows so you can come.
250 Bowery, New York, Lower Manhattan. It is extraordinary. It's a powerful exhibit. The senator saw it first in Chicago. It's so thrilling that it's here in New York. Make it your business to come check it out. One more time, I want to thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank everyone here as well.
Thank you, everybody.
To see more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at stateofaffairsnj.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to welcome Assemblyman Jon Bramnick. He is, in fact, the Assembly Republican leader. Good to see you.
Great to be with you.
Let's talk. You know what? We're going to talk issues, but we're also going to talk a little comedy. Are you, in fact, known as the funniest lawyer? Where?
Because I won the funniest lawyer in New Jersey contest every time the Bar Association sponsored it.
With actually
so I'm the
any other
Muhammad Ali of comedy among lawyers in New Jersey.
I'm sorry, I stepped on your line there, Assemblyman. How many funny lawyers could there actually possibly be?
Well, the competition's light, but I still won.
Unlike a competitive swing district in New Jersey.
Well, you know, it's like the funniest
severe.
lawyer in the funniest accountant in New Jersey is a less competitive competition.
It's even less competitive.
Yes.
By the way, speaking of, let's get this out of the way. We're talking about the millionaires tax, the 2% cap on interest arbitration, free community college, a whole bunch of things, pension crisis. While we'll talk about that, you're going to be at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. Let's put this up right now with Mike Marino, the comedian. We also had him on our one-on-one show. Mike is a funny guy. What are you doing on that bill?
April 7th, they wanted the funniest lawyer in New Jersey to start because, you know, Mike Marino's the bad boy of comedy.
He sure
so
is.
you need a lawyer to be around Mike Marino because he'll get himself in trouble.
So you're going to open up?
I am.
Let me ask you, you're always under pressure in the legislature as a public figure. Pressure performing as a stand-up on the stage at NJPAC, pressure?
Harder than a trial lawyer and harder than being the Republican leader in the House. Because if you miss one line and you lose the audience is gone. In the other job, you don't know if you lost a you don't know if you lost a jury or you lost your constituency because they don't tell you.
You'll know right away.
Right.
Let's see if you lose anyone here. You ready?
Happy to go.
Millionaires tax. We're doing this right before the governor delivers his budget address in spring of 2018. Increasing taxes on millionaires. That's a good idea, right?
Bad.
Why?
Well,
we need the money.
The worst thing you can do in New Jersey is start sending a message that we're going to put more taxes on anyone. The reason people are leaving the state is not because there's too little tax. There's too much tax. How about starting with the other option, which is reducing expenditures or capping things like interest arbitration?
What does that mean, capping things like
Well, very simple. Right now, if you're a municipal employee and you've accumulated sick leave, you could get a payout of $400,000 or $500,000. Does that make any sense?
When you retire?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because historically, you could save these sick days and walk away with $400,000 or $500,000. You saw that with police chiefs, people in the fire department. Why aren't we talking about capping those kind of expenditures? Why aren't we
limiting them? What
Exactly.
amount?
Well, it should be zero, but I'd go with $15,000 as a cap. I'm willing to talk about it. But why are we talking about now? The first thing the Murphy administration is doing, in conjunction with the Democratic majority, is they're talking about which tax we should raise. Does that make any sense in New Jersey?
But
really?
Respectfully, I mean, why not talk about finding ways to cut expenditures, but at the same time increase taxes because we need more revenue? Why is it one or the other? I don't understand that.
It may not be, but I haven't heard anything about capping anything. All I've heard is, are we going to do a millionaires tax on the Democratic side? Are we going to increase today? I think Steve Sweeney talked about raising the corporate tax by 3%, a surcharge.
The Senate President talked about that?
Yeah, that came out today.
By the way, we'll have him on our April edition of State of Affairs. Check us out then. We'll ask about it.
And I like these people personally, just so you know.
We're talking policy, not personal. Why is that a bad idea?
Why is it a bad idea to raise taxes? Because haven't you really got a sense of people? They're leaving this state. Businesses don't want to open in this state because they feel as if it's overtaxed, it's too expensive. This is not a complicated factor. This is the reality of New Jersey.
You will not be doing this in your act at NJPAC, I can
Well,
tell.
it's not funny.
Not at all.
No.
How about, I've had several people here talking, we also had the head of Jackie Heyer, our producer, was at the Cannabis Association. They were talking about, come on, legalizing marijuana. Good idea?
Bad. Well, let me start with the fact that right now it's a criminal penalty. I've always said no one should have a criminal record for having small amounts of marijuana. I actually defend people in my law office in that regard.
So you're arguing for decriminalization?
Absolutely. We need to decriminalize it. You can have a civil fine at this point. Down the road, it is possible that recreational marijuana may exist. It's too quick an adjustment right now in New Jersey. We've got to look at that really closely. I don't think there's votes for it in the Senate right now.
Are there votes in the state legislature to support Governor Murphy's proposal? Strong advocacy, Assemblyman, for raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Is there support for it?
Welcome to another bad idea.
What's a good? Hold on. Do you just one good idea out of the Murphy administration is?
I think he has a good heart, and I think he cares about people.
I said policy ideas.
Yeah, I have to give that some thought, but I'll answer the question as a minimum wage. I'm going to come up with the good Murphy ideas.
Do minimum wage.
Well, actually, he's working on New Jersey Transit, and I think
and
that's
getting
really
a whole new
important.
group of people in there and improve the transit system.
I think it's a good idea to work on New Jersey Transit.
And excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I also know that you think that President Trump is doing the wrong thing by threatening not to fund the Gateway Tunnel, which is going to help access in and out of New York and throughout the entire Eastern Seaboard. The governor's right on that, isn't he?
I absolutely agree that Donald Trump has done some bad things for New Jersey. He eliminated our property tax deduction. He eliminated our SALT deduction, meaning state and local taxes. I want to see him move forward on fully funding or helping us significantly fund a tunnel and transportation project.
The Gateway Tunnel.
I'm happy to talk against Donald Trump when he talks against New Jersey. I have no problem with that. And you remember, I didn't endorse Donald Trump for president.
Go back, $15 an hour minimum wage.
Bad idea. Look, once again, you have to increase the minimum wage, but to go from $8 and change to $15 overnight, bad idea. You have to allow businesses to adjust. And there are many businesses that will simply go automated once you go to $15. Down the road, you slow. That's what I'm talking about, compromise. That's why I'm doing rallies for the reasonable people. Find middle ground. Don't be.
You're out there doing rallies real quick, 30 seconds left. Describe these rallies.
Rallies, I want people who are in the middle of the political spectrum to get together and talk rationally to each other, not extremists yelling at each other. That's the mistake in Washington.
Simon, how is it that all the years you've been in this, you have different views from a whole range of Democrats, but you're still able to have civil conversation? How do you do that?
Because it's not personal.
It isn't, is it?
It's not personal. You were a Democratic Assemblyman. I like you.
Why do you even bring that up?
Oh, because I think that's part of your career history. And, you've been so successful. I figured if I get in the Assembly, I could be Steve Adubato someday.
You know what you're trying to say, that I was in for a ridiculously short one term, then voted out of office. That's what you're really implying, is it not?
No, I'm saying that you did some great interviews with Chris Christie. I think that's going to be considered one of the greatest interviews in the history of New Jersey television.
Wait till you see the interviews with Governor Murphy. Thank you.
I can't wait.
By the way, April 7th, NJPAC. Thank you.
Thanks.
Enjoy. That's it for this edition of State of Affairs. Let's continue the conversation. Follow me on Twitter @Steve Adubato, and I promise we will see you next week. Thank you, funny lawyer, legislator.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., RWJ Barnabas Health, the New Jersey Education Association, the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters, New Jersey Resources, NJ Best, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, and by NJM Insurance Group. And by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State. And by Employers Association of New Jersey.
You may not have heard of TAVR. Raj and Sandhya have. It's the minimally invasive alternative to open-heart valve replacement. RWJ Barnabas Health is New Jersey's leading TAVR provider, and we continue to perfect it. Patients are often back to their lives in just a few days. Innovative valve replacement surgery. Because you can't be replaced. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.